Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82. Is it possible? We've gotten to season 3 already. Yes, season 3 in the X-Files. That means we have covered all of season 1 and we have covered all of season 2. And we are already season 3, The Blessing Away, middle piece of a expanded arc that involves the season 2 finale, the season opener, and Paperclip, which follows The Blessing Way, or AKA could have been called The Blessing Way Chant. Kind of wish it would have now, actually, which involves the bringing Mulder back from the brink of death, which is a really cool scene. And so we open up with some intriguing things in this episode. But let's just start where we always start here. It is episode 1 of season 3, first drops. And what was... I know I saved it. Anasazi actually, remember, dropped May 19th, 95. So Blessing Way opens up or drops on September 22nd, 95. So that was life back then in the old days, right? You get your season finale and then you had to wait a few months and got your season your season opener. Again, R.W. Goodwin is back as director, this time Chris Carter writing. The middle piece here, like I said, of an expanded arc. We see some characters from the last show come back. Floyd Red Crow Westerman as hosting. We see Sheila Larken as Scully's mom, Margaret Scully. Melinda McGraw as Melissa Scully, her sister. Nicholas Leah as Krychek is back. And as a result of Mulder's ritual that he's part of, you see what's his name, played Deep Throat, reprise his role, which is great, really good. Rebecca Toolan as Tina Mulder, Mulder's mom, and John Neville, the Well-Manicured Man. Of course, I'm pretty sure he represents an aspect of the Syndicate. And I'm pretty sure he's in the film Fight the Future quite prominently, if I remember right. So I've got a note here. Chris Carter had just lost a parent, and so I think made this episode a little bit difficult, as it does deal with death, really, as you know, the verge of death, edge of death, and loss of life, and it gets really complicated. I mean, you know, Mulder's dad gets killed by Krychek, Scully's sister is going to die, and it's pretty. There's a conversation the Well-Manicured Man has with Scully that is a bit dark as well, although he frames it as something that should be taken as a little more positive, I think. So anyways, this issue starts to just flesh out the mythology a little bit. We pretty much leave off right from the end of the last one, and we open up here where the cigarette smoking man and his cronies show up down in New Mexico at Hostein's place and rough him up quite a bit. In fact, his grandson really gets roughed up bad. But in so doing, cigarette smoking man doesn't get his tape, doesn't really get anything out of the deal except for beat some people up. That's what the government's good for, right? Beating people up. Just let some of my cynicism show. Why not? Got 3.5 years anyways of it. But in so doing there, the sun begins to rise a little bit. Some boys come to the Hostein residence and tell him that the crows are flying, or the vultures, the scavenger birds are flying over that gravel, the quarry site, right? Which hints at the possibilities of life, meaning Mulder may still be with us. So they go down and do their little search, and lo and behold, they find Mulder. Mulder is on the verge of death, though, and some of the exposition given by Red Crow? I don't want to mess it up. Yes. Hosting is really quite engaging. I thought a lot of conversation pieces in here are quite engaging. What Deep Throat has to say to Mulder is pretty engaging. His father, Well-Manicured Man. It's a lot of nice, really good, meaty conversational pieces here in this movie. The scene with Scully and when she comes to see her mom and she's holding her shoes in her hand. It's one of those moments where you really feel your heart just goes to Scully. But Hosteen realizes the only way to bring Mulder back is through this ritual, the Blessing Way chant, in which case through multiple days he is going, while really living on the edge of death, he'll be visited by a certain prominent people in his life that are now gone, who will speak words of encouragement and try to lead him on the right path, meaning your time's not over. You need to go back and continue this pursuit of the truth, right, as the truth is to be found. And so after reconciling with a lot of these things, of course, we know Mulder comes back, and he's brought back, and a lot of other stuff are happening, though. Scully gets molested. I mean that in just a normal sense, by the military as they stop her with a helicopter in the middle of the road in the middle of the night, and they grab the paper files from her. But the original tape deck, computer tape deck, is still missing, and you find out somewhere in the midst of this episode, it's not Mulder, it's not Scully. But we have two people that are really playing both sides of the aisle quite well. You got Skinner playing multiple sides, and you got Cigarette Smoking Man playing multiple sides. And there's a hint that Cigarette Smoking Man is starting to pick up on that. Just a really subtle glance by Cigarette Smoking Man when Skinner does an abrupt, I need some fresh air. And leaves the office. He just has that look in his eyes like, oh, I can't trust you, can I? Of course, he doesn't trust anyone. But Cigarette Smoking Man is also playing both sides of the aisle in terms of the syndicate and those around him. And he makes a very plain, bold-faced lie that he has got the tape, and he doesn't got the tape. Somebody else has the tape. And so, but, you know, he will do anything to secure his own position and keep that position of strength and leadership, you know, in the midst of that syndicate group. But the Well-Manicured Man is starting to pick up on it, and he will actually intervene in this situation by warning Scully that death is approaching and may come via two ways. One, from someone who actually knows her and is pretty close to her, or it's just going to come in the middle of the night, the door's coming down, they're going to shoot her and leave the gun, a generic gun piece behind, and they'll be out of the country in 2 days. And so, you know, you got a lot of this. Frohike visits her at one point in the episode, and that is an engaging little bit of conversation. We find out, did I say this? Skinner has the tape. Skinner will eventually volunteer that information to Scully, which leads to a really cool and, yes, another cliffhanger moment in the end. But apparently, and he's going to give it to her, apparently. Of course, we don't get that far in the moment because the scene will come to an abrupt end. I do believe there's a sound of footsteps outside the door, which creates a very awkward moment as the two have guns raised on each other, and the show comes to a halt, a cliffhanger halt. There is also the moment where Scully, as she is relieved of her duty, at least temporarily, right? For this moment, she has to turn in her badge and her gun. As she called back for more questioning, she walks through the detector. Something goes off, and they can't figure out what it is. Now she has built up so much trust that, you know, there's no need to do a strip search or any of that junk. She's got their trust. They know she, you know, it's just an anomaly or something with the machine. Well, she's coming back through. She decides to go through it again. This time we learn that there is something up. She'll go visit a doctor, and we'll find out she's got an implant in the back of her neck. More to come on that in further episodes, as we all know. And so, got that dropped. Again, Melissa's death. This one, I don't think it's at the hands of Krychek. It's his buddy that's with him. So let's not lay too much at his feet. Oh, he's pretty evil. But he's more of an opportunist. I think we find out later on in the show that he's just trying to secure his own position as an opportunist would. We mentioned the syndicate. Their role in all of this is becoming a little bit more known. I'm just looking through my notes. I scribbled down real quick. Mulder makes an appearance with his mom. Shows up just after Scully conveniently shared, and she probably shouldn't have actually, but she does share with his mom that she believes he's still alive and will be found. That's a pretty weak limb to step out on, actually, and that's a moment I'm not sure Scully should have done, but she does, and it pays off. And before Mulder's mom knows what's going on, he shows up, but he doesn't show up with the sweetest of intentions. He's starting to awaken to some things that involve his dad in the past, and Mom doesn't want any part in it. And so that becomes kind of an interesting moment between the two as he's starting to demand answers. And then we sort of leave him at that moment as we finish out the show with Scully. And now, Scully's sister is killed as a result of a miscue in communication, or not so much miscue, but miscommunication. Scully decides in the last second, I think she gets a random call, no one on the other end. She remembers what the Well-Manicured Man said, and so she decides to get out of Dodge, tells her sister she's coming over to her place. It's too late, her sister's already left. But she gets out of the house. Skinner abruptly pulls up. She gets in the car, they drive off. Sister shows up, and of course Krychek is already in the room. Now, I remember seeing in there though, the vial that has the implant was on the table. I do not remember Krychek picking it up. Once he realizes they've killed the wrong person, he pretty abruptly tells his buddy, let's get out of here. And at least the camera doesn't give us that information that the vial was picked up. So I guess in Paperclip, we'll find out what the deal is on that, if that's picked up or not, and what becomes of that implant. So we've seen something like this in a vial a few times throughout the show, haven't we? I think that's about. I think the revelation of Skinner is interesting because in the process he lies. In fact, he and we don't know what his intention is, but he does show up at Scully's place. Scully shows up as she sees him exiting, and when she confronts him via the phone, he just passes it off, being like, I don't know what you're talking about. But he realizes he's being slowly pushed into a corner of his own doing, and that leads to the finale, the moment of the show, right? But he's starting to play both sides. He's, as well as the cigarette smoking man is playing both sides. And the lies are going to overlap, and you're not going to know who you can trust, when you can trust. Although, as we get to the end of the show, and even like that great moment at the end of I Want to Believe, when Skinner is embracing Mulder at the end of the film, certain relationships are solidified and do endure the length, which is a nice payoff in the end as you get there. But we're just starting episode 1 of season 3, and so a lot of relationships are up in the air. In fact, even maybe the hardest one perhaps is Mulder's relationship to his mom, because of the amount of questions he has in terms of his dad's past with the State Department and the crimes he might have been involved with that he never knew about. And so, it's got me excited for Paperclip. So we got to move on. We got to get this one done and move on. And I'll take a look at Paperclip today because I've been holding that one off. And I'll say this about Anasazi and The Blessing Way. These 2 episodes are extremely packed with a lot of stuff. I'm surprised. I mean, I have a handful of notes, but I remembered some stuff that I'm surprised I remembered, probably because of those notes. But these 2 episodes are really packed with a lot of stuff. And it does take multiple viewings to try to remember. And I'm kind of hoping Paperclip isn't quite that packed. But it'll be a nice end to a 3-arc trilogy. Which I totally forgot about until this moment. I totally forgot that there is a 3-arc piece early on that goes some distance in terms of building the foundation of this mythology. It will come to become very familiar. And somebody has said earlier in a comment in one of these reviews, vids, whatever, it's awesome to see somebody excited about the X-Files. You damn well bet I'm excited about the X-Files. I love this show. I absolutely love this show. And I'm so glad. I mean, season 1, or season 3, episode 1. And I'm happy of what's been covered. And I'm more excited as we build because, we get into seasons 4, 5, and 6, 7. Those are some of the best episodes. I got some favorite episodes that I cannot wait. And hopefully by the time we get to that point, I will feel comfortable enough to engage with some episodes that are really some of my favorites. That stuff is hard. That's not easy. Whether you're just doing reviewing a film you've never seen before and have no real intimate connection with is actually pretty easy. Trying to review a film that goes back to your childhood and that you so much built up in that intimacy, that relationship, having engaged over the decades, that is hard to do sometimes. And when I have done it, I have never felt good about any of the reviews that I have reviewed of things that are very close to my heart. Now, things that I've never seen before and may never even see again, I feel pretty good about a lot of those. So there's something weird about that. So I hope by the time we get to that point in the X-Files, I'll feel pretty good about the arc, the mythology, the foundation of all that goes into characters, some of the backstabbings and and just the give and take that goes on. Right. So anyway, so let's just end here. I keep saying that, but God, I love this show. I could just talk and talk and talk and talk. Anyways, episode 2, Paperclip, and then we move on to I think it's DPO. And I think that's with Jack Black. I'm just going to go off on a limb and say with that episode, probably will be doing that with my wife. That's one of her favorite episodes. So I got one before that, so got that. Anyways, body bags. Don't forget I do body bags. I think the link's down there below, but just review this. This is also for Wednesday. I'm the Wednesday reviewer over body bags. A little more than that in terms of just the administration of the channel and whatnot. But this was a pretty fun review, and this will be going up Wednesday as well. So just throw that out there as well. Sometimes I wonder if sometimes people realize that I've been doing body bags for almost 300 reviews now. I think something crazy like that. Almost 300. We're getting there for quite a while. So anyways, as always, winning these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.
We might be useful to you.